cop watcher Eli Richey of Portland, Oregon, has been arrested. Okay, he has been released since the arrest for a alleged misdemeanor assault, which appears to be a trumped up charge. We are going to be taking a look at this footage from the arraignment. We'll also be listening in. Basically, they attempt to jack up his bail to $250,000 to keep him in jail. And what this does really is validate a lot of things that Eli's been saying about the city of Portland, institutional racism. And you've even heard the city of Portland talk about white nationalism and other things, yet who are they actually really going after? And that point really needs to be made in light of some of the things that have been said at Portland City Council, including Joanne Hardesty attempting to marginalize white men, citing white privilege for the people that are coming to Portland City Council and speaking out. So immediately when I saw her do that, right, and I applaud the fact that she was elected, that she's the first African-American female to be elected to the city of Portland, but I have some commentary to share about gatekeeping. And it parallels exactly what Eli is saying. Because in reality, you still have some of the same institutional problems. And there are some people that confuse equality with them being selected so that they can play a role in the front. Okay, I'm going to here and there share with you some of the audio.
Do we know what the bail amount is at this time?
$2,500, I believe.
That was paid last night, Your Honor.
You know, I think it was increased to 250,000 because there were erroneously two bookings. This is 19 CR 23319.
Correct, that the booking, he posted bail on the booking, that's a no complaint on the docket for today. On the other one, the bail was raised to $250,000, but now the charging instrument is replacing the bail to $2,500 because that's what your charging instrument is saying.
Okay, so I'm going to go back and forth here, and I've done multiple takes of this, but the audio wasn't a right mix. But I'm just trying to add in some additional information that you're not going to get from just this by itself. They took his cameras. They took his GoPro 360 cameras. Check out Senna Hightower on YouTube. You can see also its beautiful bike rides around the city of Portland. So they basically are holding his cameras as evidence. So he's getting out on bail, but they're keeping his stuff.
And that's 18 CR 57500. The court can see that.
One person commented that Eli Richey looks like a doctor in those Portland jailhouse costumes.
Your Honor, we would object to an increase in bail, Your Honor. He made all prior court appearances on the bail that he had previously posted on the case that he was on was out of custody on prior to this new charge.
And the state's request is to increase it from $2,500 to $7,500?
That's right. No, to 50,000, Your Honor. I think it had been, let's see.
Now keep in mind, this whole circus here goes on for like 25 minutes. 25 minutes. Most arraignments, it's like in and out, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. See you in a couple months or see you later, kid. It's a pretty fast process. So you can see how much time and resources the state, if you will, the city of Portland, is putting into this prosecution.
And that's based in part on the fact that we have an open and stocking protective order violation case, same protected party. There is a second violation that brings us here today, alleged violation at this time. And so the basis for my request for an increase in bail.
So let me fill you in a little bit. The city of Portland is taking measures. Joanne Hardesty, Chloe, uh, taking measures to allow them to prosecute Eli and people like them for trying to interview them in the street, basically. Uh, and so this is being done to prevent Eli from continuing to ask the questions that he's asking. And, I don't think that it's a large stretch to wonder if the questions about Terry Bean specifically and others are causing this type of backlash upon Eli.
On these two new cases as they appeared in OECI.
One was not.
Oh, excellent. Which one was
And
that?
so keep in mind that new cases can be created to put someone in jail to follow up with already trumped up cases. What he's already done with is chief outlaw and I believe a restraining order. And so one of the things that they are doing, and so think about it, the city of Portland is appointing women of color and other women that are then going to use their gender to say, because you're a male, don't ask us questions because we're female. And so that gender card, and this isn't attacking women at all. I'm sure the women can see through what Chloe's doing and others. Eli's not a threat to someone like Chloe when he's trying to interview her, ask her questions, and there's like not millions literally, but metaphorically millions of cameras all around them. In a literal sense, hundreds of cameras when they're in that what I call the government district. I call it the government district, that little park there right in between the jailhouse and the city of Portland, the Multnomah County building. There's like hundreds of cameras there. That should be like a totally like crime-free area. Whatever crime does exist is the result of incompetency on the part of the city of Portland. I'm talking like people on people crime, theft, not people being homeless as a crime, sitting somewhere. That's not what I'm calling a crime. And he does look sad. But I think that this validates a lot of things that he's been saying, and hopefully he won't follow the same footsteps of MLK in the sense that hopefully he won't have the same type of ending. But he is trying to raise awareness of certain things, and I've even seen it in other areas. So this must be his actual lawyer, because he's attempting to say something privately to Eli that he doesn't want the state to hear. And I think this video is important. I've been watching the developments in Portland from here, right? You can pick up on the tension. You can cut the tension with a knife, right? We can see the beautiful court reporter there at the center of the screen at the bottom. But what people need to understand is minorities of color, especially female, are used by the state while the same state continues its institutional racism. And this is something that I've noticed. It also use men as well. When you're a person of color or mixed heritage, and you're outside the box of the normal way of looking at things, especially your politics, people can, for some reason, act against that, consciously or subconsciously, and treat one person with a different set of standards that they may treat someone else. I've experienced this in my own life. I've experienced elements of the corrupt state. I haven't gone through, though, the same things that other people have. Part of me going off grid was looking at long term
So I want to make sure
the
that I'm clear
expansion of
what we're here
corruption
on, because
at the
there seems
state
to be
level,
some confusion.
and it being a threat to activists, and activists being seen as a threat if they film police, and how this can put someone on a radar to which later law enforcement can act on a certain level of prejudice against someone, maybe even place a warrant against someone based on hearsay or basically a false report, police report being made, which I think they should take things like that more seriously. When people place false police reports just to waste the time of the police to get back at an activist. But some police have that internal corruption and other people within the system automatically built into their DNA, if you will, to where they will automatically use their position as officer, as whatever, to persecute people that are put on the radar, that are considered enemies of the state. And it's very, very unfortunate. There's a documentary that I was looking at called After Porn on VUDU.com, and it was talking about how difficult it is for women after they're in porn to re-enter official society. And I'm here to tell you that it's not just about that. You can be a YouTuber who's just a contrarian, who thinks differently about the supernatural, about the sun, about future U.S. conflicts. Hell, you can be a guy like me and be stigmatized just like those women, and in some ways even more so. At least they're still going to have a deep, hardcore fan base, the tune of millions. Yeah, you all know what I'm getting at. But we deal with activists, and in some cases, men of color, people like Eli. There's only so many people who are going to stand behind a guy like Eli. But one thing that I can see from what's playing out here is the universe will send its angels. And I feel like I've witnessed the angels being sent to Eli through other people that have discovered his work since he started recently, other people that are aware of this. He's not in the same vulnerable situation that maybe he was in the past.
And Judge, we would ask,
And maybe the
that
same
any
vulnerable
bail,
situation that I would be in. I know that if I was in the same situation as him,
order of.
I don't think there'd be people coming to my aid on YouTube. Maybe Eli would come to my aid if something were to happen to me, but you know, I don't really see that level of support. And sometimes we're meant to learn something when we stand alone and we're persecuted. It's not really anyone's fault per se. It's the universe trying to teach us something. And really, in those situations where
Judge, here's my concern about
we've
that.
been
I understand.
abused by the state in
If
some
you guys
way,
posted
we
that
emerge out of the ashes of what happened even stronger. That's what's happening to Eli now, as he literally is going through a spiritual experience.
Are the 10%. And
So
so
you posted
we posted the 2,500 after I was told that it would be enhanced.
Okay, so
And
set
that's
that-
when
Okay, good.
everything went crazy.
Pretty calm
Okay.
and collected.
So Judge, he's posted, it sounds like $2,500. The bail, my understanding, is now set at $5,000. If that were applied, he would be released
See how
today.
long this is taking?
I would ask
Right.
that since that amount has been
The
posted.
city of Portland put a lot of effort in to stop
Two other
Eli.
judges have ordered that Mr. Richey have permission to travel around the United States and also to simply just be released on his own recognizance, that you, given the information about the previously posted bail in the other case and the bureaucratic hangup in getting that applied, it could take months. I would ask that you consider reducing the bail to zero on this case. And if necessary, Mr. Richey could report to pretrial release and then apply a bail at a later date.
Your Honor, I would again object to any further reduction. Judge's orders on a pending case prior to being arrested on a new case, I don't think should weigh very heavily on the court's consideration of not so much whether he's going to come back to court, but whether or not he's going to continue to violate the court's order with respect to the stalking protective order.
I understand that, but I'm sure you can also understand this administrative problem seems like it's resulting in something that seems unfair to me. So I'm not sure how we best get there.
So she gets it.
But I have increased the bail, not to the extent that was requested by the state, but I've doubled the bail. And I am looking for a way for us to solve this. What I'd like to do is order it, return to him, so that if there's a means to do so.
See how quickly like the tables turn from him being kept in longer, them wanting more
So
money.
what the
Then this
order
judge
will
saying, no,
say
this
is
is messed
that
up paperwork. I see what's going
$500
on.
of the
We need to
posted
get
bail
some
will
money
be
back to him
transferred
and
to this
release
new
him.
case number, and the balance to be returned to him.
Thank you, Judge, I appreciate that. And I believe it's the understanding of all the parties that he will be released today. If there's an issue with that, I'll take that up with the court tonight.
And so Eli's going to emerge out of this stronger. He was saying in one of his videos it was like a spiritual experience in there and feeling more appreciated by the inmates and the people on the outside. And isn't that the truth? But in this prison planet that we're living in, unfortunately, often the prisoner comes against the prisoner. We often see that in the comment section. We see people misunderstanding what people like myself and Eli represent, why we exist. We're definitely not the same type of individual, but we've had parallel experiences, both born within a year of each other in Portland, Oregon, both biracial, both male. And so both have experienced also a sense of blowback from the type of activism that we have engaged in the Portland, Oregon area. Him much more than myself. The style of activism that he's involved in, much more direct than anything that I engaged in. I was merely speaking of ideas, but I felt that blowback coming at me through causes, circumstances, conditions i.e. bad luck, and I felt that it was basically necessary for me to migrate elsewhere. Here's an individual who was born and raised in the Portland, Oregon area, a biracial, an activist that has transcended a lot of the left-right paradigm and is very perceptive to the level of corruption that is taking place in what even Jeff Black has called the haunted house, the haunted house that is of the city of Portland. It's as if it's haunted by evil spirits from all of that activity, all of that injustice. Jeff Black has also recently been arrested for taking a picture and destroying it of pedophile former mayor of Portland, Oregon, Neil Goldschmidt. And so he is attempting to bring awareness to that. The Portland media had it together enough to at least get that detail down and in the report as to why he did what he did. I don't think the people of the city of Portland really take this seriously enough that compared to other major cities, they have a higher than average number of pedophile public officials or pedophiles connected to public officials while having a city with a human trafficking problem where the people don't have it figured out is that it's not necessarily Wheeler's fault or the city of Portland's fault. There's an underbelly of evil, an energetic current that has been conducive to that type of molestation energy, which even marks the very beginning of the city of Portland, the beginning of the rape of the region. Portlandia, the city of the wounded goddess that has been taken advantage of and defiled by mankind, literally raping its way into the forest, creating the downtown. So I'm here to say as an ex-Portlander that there is a undercurrent of evil that has even taken over many of the activists there as well. Isn't it interesting how there are all those mob type of activities years ago? Now they have just other types of mob activities and fights. And you can even look at a recent situation as if the energy spilled over or flowed over like a plasma ball to Vancouver, Washington, where kids in the middle school were literally rioting and fighting at a level that law enforcement had never seen before, with the kids engaging in racial taunts. And that just right across the river from Portland, Oregon, a Vancouver, Washington middle school taken over by a riot. So here in this clip, they are just going over with Richey one more time. Hey, bro, we're going to let you out, but you're not going to come within 150 feet of our prized, cherished African American police chief, Chief Outlaw, that is there to project a certain type of change that we can believe in, right? We've seen where this goes. But those are the terms of his release.
My only concern with that order is my understanding is there's a side entrance to the precinct on Madison. And I don't think it makes sense to prohibit Mr. Richey from walking up Madison, but we didn't get.
And so the point that he's been trying to make in his video, similar to my own, is that the system will often use women of color and other people of color and people in general in politics and in the establishment to gatekeep and project some sort of image that things have changed, that we've evolved beyond the past. And it's especially important for the city of Portland to act like they've evolved beyond their past. It's especially important for the state of Oregon to act like it's evolved beyond its past. And not everyone's familiar with the origins of the Democratic Party and the KKK, although I'm not here as a Republican being partisan with that. But this is something that's widely believed to be a fact, but in particular, institutional racism and the state of Oregon. And in recent years, history regarding that has become much more accepted, much more known, and it is something that people are taking a look at. Eli Richey is attempting to wake people up that just because you see these women in office, right? Where are the men? Where are the men? Where are the men of color? And so, he has been addressing certain questions, which is really systemic of the larger web of corruption. This is something that is relevant in other cities. And there aren't really other activists that I'm following on a regular basis in other cities that are raising similar concerns. There's a lot of important work, though, that's being done by cop watchers and First Amendment auditors and the other Portlanders. Robert West took this video. Others in Portland, the politics are very diverse amongst people that are involved in trying to keep the courts accountable and the police accountable and local city officials accountable. And the beauty of that type of activism, in some cases, the people come together and they put aside their left and right. Some people may be associated with certain groups, and other people may be more aligned with anarchy and things of that nature, being an anarchist more so than being a Democrat. And yet you may see cop watchers working together for a common good or common cause. And that's an element of this that people are forgetting. Last but not least, there was a picture of Eli that was put up down at the Salem, Oregon. That would be the capital of the state. And it was some